Good morning, guys. How is everybody?
Fine, sir. How are you doing, sir?
Very good. I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I will start the class, and then if there's anybody else to join, they can come on board. So um today's one, guys, we're going to be covering two main topics, which is sound and electricity. And this will eventually take us through to the completion of this specific workbook around humans and animals. So quite exciting. Let's try and smash through it. As always, if you guys have any questions, please pop your hand up on Zoom for me, and then I'll call out your name. And then you can say whatever you need to, because if you do it without the Zoom hand, it's a bit hard for me to work out who's speaking, because I can basically just see my screen, not the Zoom screen. So let's start. Now, sounds themselves are basically vibrations, right? We've spoken about this before, and being vibrations, the sound more often than not is heard. So when you take into account instruments like wind instruments, right? Trumpets, flutes, anything you're basically blowing into, which in turn creates a vibration and then which converts into the sound that we hear, are vibrations that we can't see. It's essentially the air within the instrument that's then vibrating and creates a sound, right? As I said. Now, in the instance where someone is playing the trumpet, for example, if you go and put your hand on top of the trumpet and keep it there as they're playing the instrument and blowing air through it, you'll actually feel the vibration as well. This is another way we can basically assess the vibrations, which is through the sense of touch. Now, sound itself is a form of kinetic energy, which is referred to as, or which explains energy causing movement. Vibrations themselves travel away from sound. As everybody knows, we've spoken about this in previous classes. They travel in waves. And so basically the traveling of sound from its source across the world is called the transmission of sound. Now, when sound waves reach our ears, so say somebody's playing the trumpet and the sound travels from the instrument through the wind, across the room and to our ears, they essentially set off the eardrums inside ourselves, which is how our brain realizes that there is a sensation there and something that we need to react to and hear that sound. Sound waves, in general, can travel through air, right? Which is why when the trumpet is played or someone's speaking to us or the radio's turned on, we can hear all those things, right? The instrument doesn't need to be right here, across your head. It can be on the other side of the room, and we can still hear it because sound does travel through air. Sound can also travel through solids. So remember, there's three states of matter in the universe, which is your air, your solids, and your liquids, right? Sound can also travel through solids as well. So, for example, when someone knocks on the door, you can see in this photo here, someone's knocking on the door. The sound has to travel through this solid, then through air to reach the person hearing that sound. Now, the third part, as I just went through, is that sound can also travel through liquids. And the most prominent example of this is when animals like whales use sound to communicate with one another in our oceans. Now, the whales basically send out sound that travel through the sea that can attract other whales based on the frequencies that they emit, and also help them in terms of how would you say, finding food, and maintaining a life as well within the ocean. As humans, what we've done is taken the work that the whales do and the way the whales implement sound, and we've basically used that same concept to assist with technologies in our world. An example of this is a submarine, right? So does anybody here not know what a submarine is? Just pop your hand up on Zoom for me if you don't, and then I can run you through what it is.
I know submarine, sir.
You do, Sashwin? Yeah, okay, go for it, mate. Give me
I know,
give
sir,
me
too.
give me 1 sec, guys. Just
No,
pop it on
submarine.
hand up on Zoom for me, please. Because like I said, I can't see who's talking when. But if you put your hand up, it shows on me on Zoom. Danushan, yes, I can see your hand up.
I know, sir.
Yes,
What is submarine?
go for it. Tell me.
The ship can go to the deep of the ocean.
Yeah, okay, cool. Very true. Sashwin, I also see your hand up.
A submarine is cold. You can go to the deep place that people can't go, and you can also use submarines to fight another opponent
Yep.
in
All very
battles.
true. Yep, 100%. Sarwin?
Yes, sir. Submarine is a boat that made for humans to go under the sea, ocean.
Absolutely. Ritishan, I see your hand up as well.
As Saswin and Sarwin said, submarine is something that can go deep under the sea and find out and it's used to discover the sea or do battles with other territories in the sea, like battle boats, like battleships.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And then Satvika, I also see your hand up.
Submarines actually used to go deep in the ocean and search and fight.
Sure. Yeah. So absolutely, everybody was right. They are certainly a type of watercraft that are used in the ocean. Their special, I guess, capability is to be able to not only float on the water, but as everybody said, to go underwater. And while they're underwater and traveling through the oceans, basically, as humans, what we've been able to do is make sure that we use sound to assist in their travels, right? So whether that's locating where they're traveling, and also communicating with other craft in the ocean as well, sound is a big part of that. Now, let me go here. So just taking a quick step back in terms of sound and how our bodies interact with sound, there's, we just went through how sound can travel through air, solids, and liquids. Within our ear, there's actually, I guess, two parts there, which triggers sound and how we interpret it. So when sound waves reach our ear, they basically travel through a bit of liquid, which is within the inner ear, and it's a coiled tube. So you can see this section here. So well inside your ear, there's a coiled tube, which is itself full of liquid. And so when the sound hits our ear, that triggers the ear bones to vibrate, which then push against the end of the tube, which results in the liquid vibrating. The nerves then around the tube that cover this liquid then respond to all of these waves and vibrations to trigger the brain to go, oh, hey, there's some sort of information coming in. And the brain realizes and says, oh, that's sound, and then interprets that sound. So again, we're seeing how sound travels in waves through multiple forms of multiple states of matter, to create an impact. Now, the speed of sound, guys, actually varies depending on the type of material or the state of matter that it's traveling through. So you can see here, sound, when it's going through air, is actually its slowest. Liquid is a little bit faster, and then solids are its fastest, right? So these are your metrics in terms of meters per second. So in air, you're looking at 330, water, which is your liquid, at 1400, and then concrete, which is your solid, at 5000. So as you can see there, the fastest speed that it travels through is when it's traveling through a solid. Now, some materials, although sound can travel through all these different states of matter as a general statement, some materials are designed to reduce the loudness of sound, and in some scenarios, stop the sound waves from traveling completely. The I guess most common scenario where you might see this happen is when is in the construction industry, right? So when builders are creating homes, offices, skyscrapers, whatever it might be, there is a sound insulating material that's used to ensure that noise from, say, the city street, from cars, from your neighbor if you're living in an apartment, for all those things to be reduced, to create a bit more peace and harmony for the people inside, we use specific materials that are designed to actually reduce and in some scenarios completely eradicate sound. Now, car makers do similar processes in terms of the way they insulate the vehicles, right? Because imagine you're driving down the road in a car with no insulation, no sound proofing material at all. You will hear everything from the engine to the rocks, the tires, everything that you're driving over. It'll become quite an unpleasant ride because there's so much distraction and so much irritation happening. So car makers use these materials to try and reduce that effect as well. And again, just a third example, which is underlay. So say you have a 2 or more story building, just so you can prevent hearing people from walking upstairs for everybody downstairs. Again, the materials can be used in that scenario as well. Now, we just talked about how sound itself can be reduced or eradicated depending on the type of material that's used. The other side of the spectrum is that we can also increase the loudness or the volume of sound, and we can do this by putting more energy into the process. For example, if you blow a trumpet harder, the sound emitted will be louder. If you hit a drum harder, the sound emitted, again, is louder. A second way that we could possibly increase the volume of sound is to amplify it. Now, an example of this is, for instance, if you look at an acoustic guitar, which is this one over here, the drawing under C, you can see here that you've got the strings, the bass here, and inside the bass is a hole, right? And it's a hollow center. What that allows is for an increased amount of air to then vibrate when the strings are played, which in turn makes, which in turn makes the volume of the sound louder, right? So one way is to just put more energy. We can bang the drum harder, we can blow the trumpet harder. And then the other version is to use specifically designed methods to amplify the sound as well, which is, for example, by creating a pocket of air to then increase the volume of air that's used to make the sound louder. before I go on to the next part, does anybody have any questions regarding loudness of sound or any of the other things we just covered there? Yep, just pop your hand up on Zoom for me first. Sarwin, yes?
I don't know about the second rule that you said, sir. About
Yes.
the guitar.
About the guitar? Okay. So,
Yes, sir.
sure. So, say for example, we had a guitar without this hole in the middle and the air pocket behind it. So, say it was just a flat piece of wood with the strings running alongside. If you were to play those strings, the vibration and therefore the air around it that's happening, or the air around it that exists, is very small because the string is there, the wood is there, and therefore when you play the strings, there's nowhere else for the vibrations to go other than down and to the side. With the guitar, when there is the hole and therefore the space and the air pocket around it, where the vibrations can then travel inside the space of the guitar, that creates, I guess, a force of the energy and a direction for the energy to then amplify out. So because the sound waves are created at the strings, then get pushed down into that empty space, it then creates a larger effect for the sound to go back out, for the sound waves to come back out. Because if there was only the wood, the sound would just go to the wood and nothing will happen. But because it has that empty space, it goes in, circulates as a bigger result. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir, it makes sense.
Make
Cool.
more sense, sir.
Okay, perfect. Anybody else have any more questions?
No, sir.
Okay, perfect. All right. Ritishan, yes, I see your hand.
I want to know all the instruments that are in the picture. I want to know their names. I know the trumpet,
That is a
the
good question.
guitar. I know the trumpet, the guitar, the violin, the rattles or something.
Mm-hmm. Maracas.
Yeah,
This one looks to be some sort of a flute. This is also a wind instrument, which is in the same family of a flute. To be honest with you, I can't remember the exact name for it, but I can find out for you. It's definitely got the same, I guess, design principles of a flute, where there's wind which then vibrates within the item, so within those cylinders, which then creates the sound. And this one, let me just double check. I think I know what it's called. I'm just gonna double check it for
I know,
you.
sir. I have seen this in some church.
Yes.
Church. I have seen
Yep.
this in some church, sir.
Do you know what it's called, Sashwin?
I don't know how to call it, but I know.
You've seen
I
it?
know
Yeah.
I also seen it, sir. I've seen
Awesome.
everything in the picture, but I don't know the name.
Sure. So
I've seen it too, but I don't know about the name.
that's cool.
I know the
I
guitar,
just
the drum, the trumpet.
perfect. So that's okay, no worries. So I just had a look and confirmed it. That one's a tambourine, the one in D, right? And that one creates sound, obviously, as you guys know, you can, tap it onto your hands or legs, whatever it is, or even just rattle it around. That will create the sound.
Sir, it sounds like a bell.
It does. And Sarwin, just remember, mate, if you can put your hand up for me, okay? If you want to say something, please. All right, cool. Ritishan, I still see your hand up. Is that everything cleared, mate, or did you have anything else?
I want to know the A one, sir. I don't know the names, but I've seen it.
Yes, so that's also
A and B.
definitely a type of drum. Both of those are types of drums. I don't have their names listed with me at the moment, but what I'll do is I'll find them before towards the end of the class, and then I'll send them across to you for sure.
I think the A one is like in the ending it says like saxophone something comes like phone in the ending, sir.
Possibly,
Because it
possibly.
sounds like exophone or zappaphone.
Or a
something.
xylophone. It's not really a xylophone. The xylophone is a bit different. That's one where it has keys, like a
sir.
keyboard. And it's a similar concept where you use sticks and you tap on each of the keys.
Yes, sir. It hears like it. But I didn't say it's like xylophone. It hears like it. The sound is similar.
Yeah. Correct. I think it would be very similar. Absolutely. Alrighty. Sashwin?
The A1, that one is that's an instrument. It was used in the, it's like, I don't know, it's like it has been used like it's like 14 years it has been used in the old days. Yeah, I have seen this.
Yeah.
People use in that days.
Definitely. Percussion instruments like like the drums and anything related to that have been around our world for years, like years and years. It's something that has been used for entertainment, used for education. So absolutely right. Absolutely. Let me scroll across for you guys. Okay. So going on to the next one, which is pitch. So pitch refers to the highness and the lowness of sound, right? So when we speak or sing or play certain instruments, we can change the pitch of the sounds that are made as well. For instance, strings, if they have different lengths or if they have different thicknesses, they will have a different pitch. So if you take a guitar, for example, the one which is the lowest pitch will be right at the top of the guitar when you're playing it, right? It's the thickest string when you have a look. And as you go down the 6 strings of the guitar, the last one is the thinnest string and has the highest pitch. Now, taking the guitar concept again, if you guys have a look at the guitar, on the other end of the instrument, there's these little pegs, right? Now, those ones, you can twist them to create tension among the strings, which again plays on its length, right? So when you tighten it, the string becomes, shorter in a sense, which creates a tighter tension and creates a higher pitch. When you loosen it, becomes longer and therefore has a lower pitch. Wind instruments, again, can make varying pitches of sound. So the concept here would be the long pipe there, when you blow into that one, will have a totally different sound to the short pipe there. Now, percussion instruments, like we were just talking about these 2 drums here, although they don't have strings or different shapes and sizes within them, they can still be amended to have various pitches. And the way that can be done is by tightening the skin of where you'd be playing the instrument, right? So again, on the drum, you can see it's got these little pegs here. So you can work those to tighten the top surface, which then has an impact on the pitch that's produced from the drum itself. Any questions regarding pitch and how that works?
I can understand the pitch one, sir.
Yes, for the guitar or just in general? You want me to... Okay. So pitch can be amended, right, in a few different ways. So if we take the guitar, for instance, the way sound is created is through the strings, right? So it's when you play the strings, they then create vibrations which go through the air pocket, which amplifies it out. Now, with the strings, if you ever have a look at a guitar, right, or a photo of a guitar, you will see that the topmost string is the thickest one. And as you get down to the bottom, so there's 6 strings in a guitar, and as you get down to the bottom one, the thickness of each string reduces in size. So the top one, which is thickest, has the lowest pitch. So it's the one with the, I guess, gruntiest sound. And then as you get to the thinner strings, you'll hear a higher pitch, right? So sounds that are like on a keyboard towards the end of the keyboard, on the right-hand side, the higher pitch, that's what you'll hear in the guitar as well. So in the scenario of a guitar, what you're looking at is the thickness of the string affecting the pitch of the sound. How was that, Sarwin?
No, I understand, sir.
You sure? Yeah?
Yes, sir. I understand it.
No problem. If you have any other questions, please let me know, okay? Ritishan, yes? Okay.
What this scenario exactly means?
Scenario?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So that refers to, I guess, a time or an event. So the scenario is like when you're referring to a situation or an environment of an event that could happen. So let me think of an example for you. Let me bring it up. So you're talking about the word, right? When I was saying in the scenario of a guitar, is that what you mean?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So I'm just thinking about it. So it would be something like it's a sequence of events, right? Or something that happens in a certain space of time. So you're describing something that could happen or that has happened. I don't know if I'm explaining that well enough, but like an example would be here's a scenario. Jack went to the shop to buy apples, right? So you're explaining a set of events that occurred or could occur. So you're making up this space of events. Does that make sense?
No, sir, I didn't understand.
Okay. Let me get you a definition. Bear with me 1 second, and then I'll work it back from there. Okay. Oh, look, the definition doesn't really help. So scenario, it defines it as a sequence of events, especially when imagined. So it's you're imagining, you're describing and imagining a number of things that could happen or did happen, right? So it's just that process. Okay, cool. Now let's do a switch over, guys, to electricity. Now, has anybody, and if you can just put your hand up on Zoom for me, has anyone come across the concept of electricity and how circuits work before? Sarin, I see your hand up.
Yes, sir. I have studied about
Perfect.
this. It's a simple
Awesome.
circuit.
Perfect. Satvika?
Should I study about this too?
Awesome. Sashwin, see your hand as well.
I have studied this about it's like whole simple circuit, sir. You can use 5 things, batteries
Awesome.
and other things to make simple circuit.
Perfect. I can see most people have got their hand up at the moment. So I'll take it that you've covered this previously. So I'll start going through it all. And if you have any questions, just let me know, okay? So as it's been said, this is essentially a simple circuit, right? So there's a few key elements. One is your switch. The next is your wires that connect all the parts together. You've got your battery and then your lamp, which is the product that you're trying to have the electricity run through. Now, a circuit, by definition, is a complete circle that provides a pathway, right, for electricity to flow, initially from the battery, through the wires, to the item that you're trying to power up, in this case is a lamp, and then back to the battery. So it's a full circle from one end to the other. The switch is placed to ensure that we can control the flow of the current through the wires across the entire circuit. Now, the switch, right, as an object and as an item there, basically proves to us that electricity flows only when it's in a complete circuit, because if the switch is off and it creates the gap, right, the electricity doesn't flow and won't reach the lamp to then to keep powering it. Once the switch is closed and turned on, that's when the flow of electricity continues again, and we get power back to the lamp. Sorry. Now, there are different reasons why a circuit might not be complete. One is there's a gap. So, for instance, either the switch is turned off, as you can see here, there's a gap between. It can be that the wires were not connected to certain items correctly. So if it was loose or not connected to the lamp, same scenario with the battery. Or the electricity and the current may have been blocked by a material that don't allow it to flow through, right? So for instance, if the wire was connected up here on the sphere of the glass, on the lamp itself, it's not going to power the lamp up because glass itself won't conduct the electricity, allowing it to run through the circuit. Before I go any further, you guys kind of covered it, so I didn't go into too much detail. Does anybody have any questions around electricity?
No, sir. It's clear.
Yep.
No,
Perfect.
sir.
No worries. If anybody does, just put your hand up on Zoom for me so I can go in a bit more detail. I'll take the silence as we're all good. Okay. The next one is magnetism, and this is just a quick one. Now, a few metals in the world are magnetic and others are non-magnetic. Iron, steel, and nickel are examples of metals that are magnetic. Copper, tin, and aluminium are ones that are non-magnetic. There's something called the two laws of magnetism, which is where opposite poles attract and like poles repel. Does anyone want to give me, or does anyone want to put their hand up and try to explain that scenario or that law for me? Has anyone come across that one before? Ritishan, yes?
Do you mean something like there is one magnet right here. This is south and this is north. And there's another magnet right here, which this is south and this is north. And if they come like this, they both combine. But if this is north and this is south, and this is north and this is south, they won't combine, but the opposite reaction of combining will happen. It will separate.
Almost. You explained it really well. Can I just clarify, when you were doing your example with your fingers, right, were you saying the two parts touching, if they were north and south, they would connect, or if they're north and north, they would connect?
North and south, different ones.
Definitely, yes,
I
exactly
tried it
right.
before with my magnets, and
Perfect.
we were wondering what is happening here.
100%. So perfectly explained, man. Exactly right. So as the two laws of magnetism state, right? So if it's opposite poles, so if you're looking at north and south, that attracts, it creates the magnets to come together and stick together. But if you're looking at north and north, for example, you can try to push them together as much as you can, but the magnets will eventually push apart.
No,
That's exactly how you explained it there.
when I was-
Sashwin, just put your hand up for me on Zoom, mate. I do see you speaking, but it's a bit hard. Yes, go for it.
I got a magnetic. It was broken to half, and I tried to fix it, but it didn't work.
Yeah, Yep.
So I think this is the way of it's telling.
100%, because the section where it may have broken could have been on one side of the pole. So you've then now got two souths or two norths. So when you tried to put it back together, it was having that forced pull apart.
Yes,
Exactly
sir.
right. Siren?
The same thing, sir. Did you say?
Yep, no worries. Cool. Now, we've covered pretty much everything, guys. So we're running well on time. Let's see how we go with getting the Kahoot up and running. So let me get you the code. Give me 1 sec. Perfect. There we go. Satvika's in as well. All right, guys. So I'm going to start the Kahoot. Looks like everybody's in there. Let's go. Well done. Everybody got that one. Let's see who was quickest. Sashwin was quickest, and Danushan, same speed. There we go. All right, next one. Ooh, okay. We had 3 people get that one right. Let's see how it affects the leaderboard. Ritishan's taken the lead. It's false. It can travel through liquid. There we go. Ritishan holding the lead. Dinashan on a streak there with 3 correct answers in a row. Well, Ritishan taking the lead and staying there on a streak as well. Well done. Ooh, okay. Almost tricked a few people there. So if you guys noticed, the wire wasn't going into the section of the lamp that would actually power it. So it was just on the outside. Nice. There we go. Last question. Oh, everyone got that question wrong. I tricked you guys there. It's opposite poles attract and like poles repel. Read the question, guys. I tricked everybody. All right, let's see. 3rd place is Sashwin. Well done, mate. 2nd place, Sarvin. And then 1st place was Ritishan. Well done. Awesome. And then we had 2 runners up, Dinashan and Satvika coming in 4th and 5th. So well done to the guys right at the end there. Awesome. Does anybody have any questions, guys? Looks like today, without any of the technical issues, we've run through the class nice and smoothly and a little bit earlier than and planned. Anybody have any questions, comments, anything you wanted to say?
No, sir.
No dramas. Easy. Look, that covers pretty much everything, guys. And that takes us to the end of the humans and animals, I guess, content. So we'll move on to a different topic from next week onwards. All right, guys, no problem. That takes us to the end of the class. If nobody has any other questions, I think we'll call it there. So thank you, everyone, for joining again. Next week, we'll be moving on to a different topic. So looking forward to that. No problem, Sarin. Thank you, mate. Thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for teaching, sir. Thank you for teaching, sir. Have a nice day.